question, how do you prepare students to be successful in a complex world? And it might be that we would rather that the world was black and white, because in some ways that's easier. And we might want to see the world as black and white. And I sort of say this every time, I always sort of say that the world really exists in the grey areas. And that's the excitement of my job, is living in the grey areas. And my wife says to me, and she's so right, she said, you know, you say that, Jonathan, but in between black and white is not grey, it's glorious colour. That's what exists. Every single colour is on the spectrum somewhere between black and white, and that's the real world. And how do we have students become effective in the real world? Well, one of the ways that students can be effective in the real world is by being introduced to that world in a place where they are experiencing difference, where they are experiencing trying to negotiate their own viewpoints with other people's viewpoints, while they are working together to compromise on complex issues, but they're doing that in a place that nurtures them, that supports them, that's educating them to be successful in that area. We do in our school, and I think in a lot of schools here, you know, we do a lot of group work. When I was at school, group work was pretty simple. You know, 3 or 4 people worked together on a project, and we got 1 grade for the project, and that was it. You kind of all got that 1 grade for the project. Now, I will share with you that I am less now, but I was a complete procrastinator when I was at school. Right? I would leave everything to the absolute last minute. If you are a procrastinator, you tend to be friendly with other procrastinators, right? Because you don't want to hang around people who get their work in on time because they're intimidating and offensive. So you kind of stick with people who tend to do things at the last minute. So if a teacher says to you, okay, will you pick a group of 3 or 4 people and work on a project together, the procrastinators are going to pick the other procrastinators. And at midnight, on the day before the project's due, one of them is going to phone up the other group and say, you know, at the very least, we ought to start working on our excuse for why we're not going to have our work in tomorrow morning. And if all else fails, we should work on the piece of work, if it's now like months after the day that it's due. And that's what you get graded on. Well, the truth is, you haven't really learned anything about working as a group under those circumstances. I would contrast that with a visit I made to our 5th grade classroom, they were doing reading books together. And I should be able to do this much better, but it's a school of 1,200 and I don't know everybody's name. And I was sitting with a group and I said to one of the students, "What's your name?" And they misunderstood me and they answered, "I'm the word wizard." I said, "Oh, that's an interesting name. You know, is wizard your family name? You know, how does it work?" And they said, "No, my job, I'm part of a group, and my job is if the group comes across a word that they don't understand, it's my job to research the meaning of that word." And I said to the next student, "Well, who are you?" "I'm the summarizer. It's my job to bring everybody's ideas together and to summarize them. And who are you?" "I'm the illustrator." "And who are you?" "I'm the librarian." "Who are you?" "I'm the internet researcher." And the project, it wasn't just that the kids had learned about a book. They'd learnt what their strengths were in a group, and I'm still not quite sure how the teacher does it because she does it so brilliantly. She is grading their work not on the absolute quality of the work, but on how much better it is because they worked together than if they'd done the work individually. And so what the students are picking up from that is, and it gets back to answering the question that I was asking, how do you prepare, is that they're going to graduate school being able to say, as well as how good I am at math and how good I am at English and how good I am at Hebrew and how good I am at French and how good I am at athletics, they'll be able to say, and this is how I am as a member of a group. This is what I can bring to the group, and this is what I need somebody else to bring for me. The second thing they're going to be able to do, and they need to be able to do, is say, and if I can't find the information, Where am I going to look? So I know I can look in a library. I know I can look on the internet. I know I can Skype somebody in China. There's a wonderful school in the Washington, D.C. area, which is now on every bit of history they study. The kids not only learn about the American perspective, but they have to make connections with the country that is being studied about, the other side of the conflict, and get their perspective. So when they learn about the American War of Independence, which is music to my ears, they have to get in touch with England, make contact with kids at school in England, and understand what the English people think of the American War of Independence, and the perspective that they have. So they're getting communication. One of the key issues is, if we're preparing students, we're going to have to be much more focused on skills. And we're going to have to work out what knowledge we want to transmit.